What's up, everybody? Andrew Mahone here with Darren's Competitive Pokemon. I'm going to be playing a game on PTCGO. Today, I am playing with Christopher Szymanski's top 4 European International Championship Gardevoir GX deck, known as Broken Vor or the Broken Gardevoir deck. This Gardevoir deck is insane. Plays 4 copies of Max Potion. I'll show off the list at the end of the video. I'm going to start doing that. I had some people in the comments suggest that I do that. I don't want to do it at the beginning because I just like to cut to the chase. So if you want, you could go skip and see the list at the end of the video. That's where I'm going to show it off. That way you could just screen cap it or whatever. But I don't want to waste any time showing off the list at the beginning of the video, because if I show off the list in the beginning of the video, what if then? Like, what if it ends up being, a bad game? Then I wasted all that time at the beginning of the video, showing off a list that and the game was bad. So I will just take the time to show off the list at the end of the videos from now on, so that way anybody who wants to see the exact 60 that I played with can skip ahead to the end and go ahead and screen cap it for their own use. This opening hand is butt. This opening hand is not good. I don't want to attach the double colorless energies because they are just going to get righteous edged away. I think I will attach the double colorless energy to the bench Ralts though, and just Sycamore. As much as I don't want to do that, I think that's probably just the best option. And then it kind of did buff out a little bit. I was able to draw into some other cards here, and I'm going to be able to Ultra Ball for a Lele next turn, or I could Guzma and Beacon next turn, something like that. So let's just go ahead and see what happens here. It looks like I'm paired against Drampa, Garbodor, so this should be a good matchup for a Gardevoir GX deck. I mean, Garbodor is not all that great. The Trash Lance Garbodor, not all that great against Gardevoir GX. We do have that Twilight GX allowing us to throw our items back into the deck, but as you can see, I have already had to trash a Field Blower and a Gallade. Gallade is also really good against these Drampas, so I should have lots of coverage here. Pretty sure this is the same dude I just played against in one of my other gameplays, so we're getting another game against Drampa Garbodor here. Same guy, but whatever, I mean, he beat me last time, so hopefully maybe this time I can get him back. I recognize his full art Lele's and that name, I don't know, Mr. Ninja Master. So I'm pretty sure I just played against this dude, but whatever. This list, though, I do like it. This Gardevoir list, I do like just the one Vulpix in here instead of the Sylveon GX line. The one Vulpix is just much more consistent. It's easier to get out into play. Now, this is a little bit of a weird scenario for me, though, just because I can't really just Beacon and go and get a Lele for next turn, because if my opponent were to ability lock me, I would just be in a bad scenario. We do see, though, that I do get very lucky with the top deck of that N, so I am going to just attach to the active Tapu Lele and then end my opponent's Big Wheel GX back into the deck, and then we do get a Kirlia as well. So this is a great start for me, because this means that turn 3 I am going to be able to get 2 Gardevoir GXs into play. Now, I could Ultra Ball for like another Ralts or something, but I don't really think that that's probably going to be necessary. I want to keep these supporters. I don't want to really ditch them, especially since I'm going to be, let's see, we could grab a Gardevoir and a Gallade. The Gallade would very swiftly take care of that Drampa, but then might get return knocked out. Let's go for a Gardevoir and a Gallade. That's fine. So we're going to get both those, just so that we do get a guaranteed knockout on this Drampa if they don't get the Drampa out of the active position. But like I was saying, so we're getting those end right back in. I don't want to go ahead and discard a lot of my resources like Guzma or N or Sycamore. I play a limited number of supporters in this deck. There are not a ton of them, so it's going to be rough if I have to discard a bunch of supporters, because I'm not going to be able to rely on Octillery's Abyssal Hand to be able to draw through my deck late into the game. So I do have to make sure that I save some of those supporters for later in the game, so that I can continue to draw even once my opponent starts to activate activate this Garbodor here. Now I am very lucky. My opponent did not get a tool for this Garbodor, so I am going to be able to Secret Spring here. Just going to go ahead and eat this damage here from Po-Town. And this is another cool part about Max Potion, is that I could just eat that damage, Max Potion it off. No harm, no foul. This is super cool. I'm also going to just go ahead and Super Rod. Gonna chuck the Gallade and those two Fairy Energies back into the deck. Gonna put this Choice Band here and just go ahead and end. So now that I've used my N, I do have, wow, what a weird hand to get here. I do not necessarily like this, but you know, I would like to draw into some Fairy Energy so that I can maybe Secret Spring, accelerate a little bit, but this is fine. Let's go ahead and Premonition first, set the top 5 cards of our deck, and it looks like I am not getting anything too hot. Now I could bank on my opponent not getting a tool on their Garbodor, in which case I could go ahead and grab Ultra Ball, but I'm gonna say that they probably will be getting that. So I'll go DCE, Ultra Ball, and then, you know, Fairy, Curly, Gardevoir. We'll go like that. So we're gonna give ourselves the DCE first so that we can attack or attach or something like that. And then the turn afterwards, we'll give ourselves the Ultra Ball, just in case, you know, I mean, I imagine maybe I get a supporter here. That's cool. So I will be able to slap that DCE down. And then maybe Sycamore, though I do not want to Sycamore all 3 of these Guzmas. That seems really bad. However, another play that I have is that if my opponent does not knock me out here, then I can just Guzma up maybe the Garbodor or something like that, knock it out, retreat with the DCE. But it looks like they are going to be trash launching me for knockout here. I have 1, 2, 3. So they're doing 60 damage, 120. Perfect math to knock out my Gallade. That is super annoying because of that Po-Town there doing just enough damage to get me with that knockout. I could send up Tapu Lele here, and you know, I know I'm getting the DCE, and then I could I could hit my opponent that way. I don't really know what the best course of action is going to be. I know that my opponent is not going to be doing a lot of damage to me. I mean, they do have this Choice Band here, but I could like 2-shot my opponent with the Tapu Lele. That just seems really rough. They did get that, but 40 damage, Guzming up the Garbodor. That doesn't really make a lot of sense. I could swing at it twice. That just seems really bad. Let's just go ahead and send up this Lele. I don't think I want to bring up anything else necessarily. So, yeah, let's just go ahead and send that up. And then I know I'm getting the double colorless energy. This is just a frustrating hand. I don't really think that it's going to be the move to do this. But I don't really see, any other options. I don't know. If I discard these tools, this Garbodor is going to be doing a lot more damage to me. I don't like that. But let's just Energy Drive, and then we'll go from there. So I am doing some damage to this Garbodor. I can knock it out next turn. I don't want to put any more items in my discard pile. I have 3, so that means my opponent can do 90 damage to me with this Garbodor. That is, aiming for a 2-hit knockout. However, they're going to Guzma, so they're going to bring up my Garbodor or my Gardevoir, and they are going to hit it for 90. And their goal here is going to be to eventually to be able to use this Espeon. But as you can see, I've kind of very intelligently, just sat on this hand. I'm playing conservatively. There's no reason to rush this right now. I've got Max Potions. I've got Guzmas. There was no reason to really ship that Sycamore. So I'm just going to Max Potion that Garbodor. And now I'm going to Guzma up something on my opponent's side of the field and hit it for some damage. So I could hit this Garbodor here and then maybe Guzma it up again, which could open the door for me to be able to go an Ultra Ball for my Octillery. If I double Guzma that Garbodor, I mean, that is an option that I could do. I could also Guzma up this Garbodor and hit it, which is not like the worst play either. I think that I probably am going to go for the Guzma on this Garbodor just so that I am not having to double Guzma something. And I'm just going to Energy Drive, hit this for some damage too. So now both of these Garbodors, who could be problematic are just going to be able to kind of get tapped just to get knocked out. Like I can very easily just attach a fairy energy to this Gardevoir here and just knock out both of these Garbodors, and that should not be a problem. So my opponent is going to do a little more damage to me. They're doing 100. They did Field Blower, one more item of mine into the discard pile. I do get a fairy energy, so that is great. I think what I'm going to do is retreat into the Gardevoir here and just max potion that Lele, and I am going to just start knocking things out. So let's just do that, and then we can knock out this Garbodor, and I probably am going to want to set up another Garbodor here. So let's go ahead and just start to another Gardevoir here. So let's start to do that. I'm going to send all three of these into the deck, and then I'm going to Ultra Ball both my Guzmas, as weird as that is. I'm going to Ultra Ball both of those and go grab another Ralts too. Then I'm going to play Sycamore. At this point, I know I have a good amount of items in the discard pile. I could just Twilight. That wouldn't be the worst thing ever. I think if I parallel my opponent right now, I actually do put them in a kind of compromising situation. So I do like that. Twilight would throw all of my items back into the deck. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I would be able to throw 8 back into the deck. I think that probably is my best play right now, because then my opponent just will not be doing like any damage to me. So I do want to limit them first, and then I am going to Twilight instead of knocking this thing out. Since this is my only Gardevoir in play, I want to protect it. My opponent has no efficient way to do damage to me, and I imagine they have to send this Trubbish too, and that just is very damaging for them. They don't want to have to send this Trubbish, but I think they have to. Right, and then now I will just Twilight GX, and we're just going to throw all these items back in. So let's just get all these guys back in here, make sure that we got all items, and then I could throw like one more DCE, something like that. I could throw another Sycamore. I probably want to just throw, I could put a Guzma back in. I probably want to throw a double colorless back in, or a Sycamore, probably the Sycamore, just to give myself a little more draw in my deck. I am kind of low on supporters, but the double colorless energy could be good too, but I can just kind of manually attach from here on out, and I should be fine. So I'm going to throw the Sycamore in. Oh, I get another one. Okay, cool. So then let's throw a double colorless energy in too, and we're going to call it a day. So we could throw all those back in, give ourselves some draw, and I did not throw a Guzma back into the deck. I wanted to, at this point, I think I'm far enough ahead board position wise that I'm not really going to have to Guzma anything out for game. I should kind of just be able to kind of mow down whatever my opponent puts in front of me and just be able to win the game that way. I've done so much damage all over my opponent's side of the board. You know, both of their Garbodors are critically damaged, and so that is just super good for me that I can just attack them with just one energy infinite force. Should be fine. Now, if my opponent does acid spray me, that will be a little annoying. If they are able to find a double colorless energy for these Garbodors and acid spray me, I am not going to be excited about that, because that is 100 damage onto my Gardevoir, meaning that it then can be devolved by this Espeon. So we're definitely hoping that my opponent did not get the double colorless energy off of that Sycamore. What are their odds of hitting it? I think they have 2 down, so they do still have like an 18 card deck, so their odds of hitting it are not super high, but they certainly could hit. It's not out of the question. I mean, they definitely could have ripped that double colorless energy there. Also, there could be a double colorless energy in their prizes. We really don't know. They are going to go ahead and grab Drampa. I'm fine with them grabbing Drampa. I'm not super worried about a Drampa right now. I think that would actually help me clean up this game is if they bring a Drampa with 3 energy into the active position. Not exactly sure where I'm going with this hand right now. And they did not get the double colorless energy. You could tell because they attached that energy right there to the Drampa. So they did not get it. So this is very good for me. And like I said, I don't know exactly where I want to go from here. I think I need to attach to the active Gardevoir in case the Drampa comes up with 3 energy on it and does, hit me, then I could just knock out that thing. I think I also want to Ultra Ball away maybe the Super Rod and the Max Potion for a Curlia. I could get a Curlia. I don't have any rare candies in the discard pile, so I could just hold on to the Ultra Ball for when I eventually draw into a rare candy naturally, because I mean it's bound to happen eventually. And then I could just Ultra Ball rare candy. So I think I will just sit on this hand. This Gardevoir's not going anywhere. It is evolved up through Curlia, I believe it is. So even the Espeon's Devolution's not going to be doing much to it. So I'm fine with just sitting on this hand here, attaching manually, and just seeing how we do. I'm preparing myself to knock out a Drampa or something. I'm not attaching any special energy. So Righteous Edge is not going to be discarding any energy or anything like that. If my opponent finds a double colorless energy, they could Acid Spray me. You know, and if they do Acid Spray me, like I said, that's probably the most annoying thing my opponent can do right now. I am out of Guzmas, so if they are able to kind of throw this Garbodor at me and then one more Garbodor at me and then make me take out a Drampa, like that would be super annoying. That would definitely be the most annoying way for them to go about this game, would be to try to toss me 2 Garbodors first. Now they could look at my discard pile and probably guess that I don't have any Guzmas left in my deck. So maybe I should have, instead of the Sycamore, probably should have thrown 1 Guzma back in, just so that I had that option. But I definitely did want to make it so that my opponent's Trashland Garbodors were not going to be doing anything. And I think this is a really interesting play on my opponent's part, going in with the Drampa instead of going in with this Garbodor, especially since they do have another Trubbish in play. They could have just Acid Sprayed there, and they would be essentially doing the same thing. Instead, I mean, I have some Max Potions now, so I could just knock this thing out, and then I leave myself with what? I leave myself with 50 hit points remaining if I knock this thing out. My opponent will definitely just Espeon me then. So I think that I just Max Potion and hit into it, and then I could just do it again. So I am just I'm just gonna tank with this thing, you know? Like, here is the deck doing exactly what it's designed to do. We're just gonna Infinite Force, slow roll this thing. If my opponent wants to Berserk me again, I will just Max Potion one more time and hopefully attach another energy. We want to buy ourselves a little more time to draw out of this little bit of a dead hand that I've got going on here. Oh, my opponent is playing the Espeon GX in their Drampa Garb deck as well. So hello to you, Espeon GX. Very cool. I'm interested as to what my opponent will do, though. I suspect that they'll probably either Berserk me again, or they'll come up and Acid Spray, but that would be their 4th DCE if they do decide to Acid Spray me. They could come up and confuse me with Psybeam. That would be an interesting play as well, just to kind of, diversify their damage, end me to 3. They know I don't really have a lot of draw, and what a rip off of that end to 3. Oh, yeah, that is right. This is going to make my opponent angry. I would not be very surprised if they just pack it up right here with that Max Potion, Fairy Energy, and the Sycamore. Oh my gosh, my opponent has got to be salty after that one. That is not what they want to see. Not at all. So I need to make some plays here. I believe, So I think I have 1 Gardevoir in deck. I could Ultra Ball away the Ralts and the Bridget, go get a Gardevoir, rare candy into Gardevoir, evolve into Curlia. That would probably be fine. I don't want to get devolved, but I think that this is probably just the best case scenario, because I don't want to put myself in a situation where, oh, I don't have it. That's fine. My other Gardevoir is prized, so this is all good. We do get to thin our deck a little bit. I think I have the rare candy in my hand, so I can get the Gallade. I can get that. We are just going to go ahead and grab the Tapu Lele, just in case, we happen to draw into Field Blower. So that's fine. I will rare candy into the Gallade here, and I will also put that Curlia down. Potentially, I should have Ultra Balled for the Octillery, just in case. Then I could evolve it, and then if my opponent ends me again, then if I draw into the Field Blower, then I do have like a live draw. So like that is like a potential play I could have made. But at this point, we got one prize, so hopefully we could just, finish this one out here. I don't think my opponent has any real way to deal with that crazy. No, they don't. They don't have any way to deal with my crazy Max Potion Fairy Energy play there. So we just got the game. Thank you all for watching. I mean, this is a pretty good matchup, as you can see, for Gardevoir, even though I had some awkward draws there. Just Twilight GX being able to completely shut down my opponent's strategy. They had filled their field with Garbodors, and then all of a sudden the Garbodors were swinging for 0 damage. So that is just so wild. The Max Potions just coming in so clutch. You could tell I was totally able to shut down my opponent's strategy, trying to devolve my Pokemon, and I was just able to Max Potion off the damage every time. And since my opponent was not playing a deck where they could one-shot my Gardevoir GXs, they have 230 hit points. That's a lot of hit points. Because they were not able to one-shot my Gardevoir GXs, those were never an option for my opponent to knock out. So this is very close to Christopher Szymanski's list. Just it plays one more of the Psychic Curlia, one less of the Fairy Curlia. But otherwise, this should be Christopher Szymanski's top 4 list from the European International Championships. Thank you all for watching the video. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Peace.